Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Checking the Pulse of Husker Nation, brought to you by X-Cancer. Check them out at xcancer.com. And why, yes, I am wearing a shirt that is about 15 years old and just a smidge too small. I'm not quite as heavy as I once was. But today's show, here are the top 5 reasons why I think Scott Frost, because he legit seems happier at these press conferences. Like he's smiling. It's not like a joke or a forced joke or trying to be funny, which all coaches do. I'm not just saying that was Frost from time to time. But like he legit seems happier. The smile seems more natural, seems to just kind of come. So why? Why would he be happier during these spring press conferences? Here are my top 5 reasons that I believe that he is. Number 1, Mark Whipple. And all the new coaches that he's brought on board, especially the ones on offense, Bill Bush on special teams, as well as a contributing factor to this, but especially the ones on offense. And he's talked about how there's new ideas in that room. I don't know. I don't think they ran out of ideas before, but he's talked about the new ideas, but especially a guy like Mark Whipple. This is a guy who's successful. He's experienced. He's been there, and he's done that at all levels. Okay. Frost doesn't have to do the game plans on offense anymore. He's stepping back. He's taking the CEO role. All right, there's not as much pressure on him. Mark Whipple is absorbing that pressure, and what better guy to do it than a guy like Mark Whipple? He's bringing in his offense. We know they blended a smidge between the two of Whipple and Frost's offense, although I think a majority of it is new, and that's got to be a weight lifted off of Frost. Essentially what he's done is he's entrusted the future of his head coaching job here at the University of Nebraska to the new coaches, especially Mark Whipple. Number 2, new transfers, new faces, new toys, so to speak. You look at the guys they brought in at quarterback. Casey Thompson led the Big 12 in touchdowns. Running back, and I'm not saying these guys are automatically the starter. I'm just talking about potential new toys, things that get you excited. Okay, you got the junior college player of the year at running back in Anthony Grant that they brought in, one of the fastest players in the entire country in Trey Palmer, not only a receiving threat, but a return threat. They brought in some offensive linemen with some starting experience at other schools and some size. All sorts of new toys and things to figure out what you can try to do on offense with this new offensive scheme, with these new players. Here's a question I have, because this isn't a fluff piece. I'm not like, oh man, Scott Frost is happy. We win in the national title. We do that every offseason. What happens during the season? So, objectively speaking, okay, not a fluff piece, new toys are always fun and exciting at first. My question is, all right, are you still playing with them when the next Christmas rolls around? How many times has a player come in with a bunch of hype and a year later, maybe it hasn't worked out, maybe they're transferring, whatever the case may be, not indicting anybody, it happens. Then you have new players who come in, they're exciting, things go well. A year later, boom, they got big things on the horizon. My question is, how many of these players, these new toys, so to speak, and I was once a player, so I'll call them a toy if I'd like, because a year from now, how shiny are these new toys? How exciting are they still? Right now, they're very exciting, which I'm sure gives Scott Frost a reason for optimism and a good reason to smile at this moment in time. All right. Number 3, obviously improved, that's the quote, obviously improved offensive line play. Now, I even wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I articulated myself appropriately. Everything with Nebraska's offense starts up front. I probably didn't have to write this down, I just did. If we block better, we will score a lot more. If we don't block better, we simply will not score. Other positions obviously matter, all right? But everything starts up front. Physicality, let's bloody some noses. All right. Now, the offensive line, it's been noted several times, they're coming off the ball better. They're firing off better. They're obviously playing better. All right. In fact, Scott Frost even said the first thing is they're coming off the ball. That's something I've been frustrated with for a long time. End quote. To me, I don't know, is that a little bit of a shot at the previous offensive line coach? I don't know. You can take it however you want, I guess. But my thought was this: hey, man, you're the head coach. If this is something that's been frustrating you for a while, why has this not been addressed before year 5? I guess better late than never. All right. Everything starts up front. Everything starts up front. All right. Especially when you got a guy, if Casey Thompson is the starter, Logan Smothers, Heinrich Harburg, Chubba Purdy, who's limited right now, whatever the case may be. But let's say it's Casey Thompson. He's the favorite at the moment. He's got the most experience. he runs better than people think, but he's not Adrian Martinez. Adrian Martinez was running for his life a lot. Now, Adrian Martinez did a lot of great things. He didn't play well the last 5 minutes of games, but he was running for his life. Like Casey Thompson is not that guy. What he is something that we haven't had here at Nebraska since about 2008, 9, 10 with Joe Gans. And that's someone who can sit in the pocket and complete intermediate passes, 20 to 30 yards on a consistent basis. Think of all the quarterbacks we had. A lot of great runners, a lot of quarterbacks with great arm strength. Okay, not that Casey can't run, not that he doesn't have a strong arm, but what he does really well is complete those intermediate passes from the pocket. All right, so we got to protect him. And Frost also talked about how when he played at Nebraska, all right, tends to reference that quite a bit. That's fine, I guess. When he played at Nebraska, the offensive line were coming off the ball so hard, so fast, it looked like they were running 40-yard dashes. So I'm hoping not only can we find a running back to take the bull by the horns, the job by the horns this year, but we got an offensive line that'll make a running back's life easier by giving him some holes. The flip side of this is like a year ago, I heard how the defensive line was playing well. And I remember in my mind thinking, well, what about the O-line? You know, because if the D-line's looking good in practice, what about the O-line? Well, then come to find out the O-line was not very good at all last year. So if the offensive line's playing bad, how's the D-line doing this year? I don't know. That's just where my mind goes. Is the D-line doing all right? Because here's the fourth reason I believe Scott Frost is more likely to smile, having more fun during spring ball right now, because there's more question marks on defense than on offense this year. 80% of the transfer players that have come into Nebraska this year are offensive guys, yet the defense has less than half of their starters coming back, as they're especially young on that defensive line. They got to find 3 new starters in the secondary. Here's the deal. If I'm Scott Frost, I want the defense to do great, obviously. But if the offense struggles, I'm gone, okay? If the defense struggles, well, Eric Chenander's gone. Not that he's rooting for that, not that that's going to happen. Eric Chenander's done a great job up to this point. I'm just saying there's less stress about the defense when it comes to Frost than there is on offense, and there's a lot more questions on defense as far as pieces to the puzzle. On offense, they got all the pieces they need. They got talent, ability, potential. They just got to put it together. The defense has to find the pieces, okay, that the offense already knows they have, and then they got to find the starters, the pieces, and put the puzzle together. All right, last but certainly not least, number 5 reason why Scott Frost is more happier, seems to be in a better mood at his press conferences this spring. Number 5, there's no way we're not better on special teams this year. I mean, number 1, we could pretty much do nothing, and how could we be any worse? But number 2, I mean, the special teams probably cost us 4, 5, 6 games last year, somewhere in that range. You look at the punter we brought in, Brian Buschini, FCS punter of the year. He had more balls that he kicked in the air over 60 yards last year alone than Nebraska's had in the past 2 seasons combined. You look at the new kicker. He has made more field goals, okay, well, a higher field goal success rate between 30 to 49 yards, okay, than Nebraska had last year. In fact, his success rate between 30 to 49 yards is almost twice more successful. I'm having a hard time saying this. Bottom line, 30 to 49 yards, he's made twice as many of those kicks as Nebraska did a year ago. There, I finally got it out. Last but certainly not least, Bill Busch, special teams coordinator. The 2 biggest things that needed to be addressed were offense and special teams. Mark Whipple's in charge of the offense. Bill Busch is in charge of the special teams. And Bill Busch is a good coach who's had success in the past. So that's got to take a load off of Coach Frost's mind. Now, if you want me to do a show because I just did a show not long ago on the 3 keys to Nebraska having success on offense. I just talked about the question marks on defense. If you want me to do a show, the 3 keys to Nebraska having success on defense, smash that like button, leave a comment. Also, I'm still going to get to the offensive line show, talking about the basics and fundamentals of playing offensive line. I reached out to an O-line buddy who played in the league for years. He's gotten back to me. I wanted to run some things by him. I know plenty about offensive line play. I've watched 1,000 O-line coaches, coach O-linemen. I've gone against him, but I wanted to reach out to him and get his expertise. Also, spring break next week. I haven't yet figured out if there's going to be Carriker Chronicles next week during spring break. Hopefully there is. If there's not, at least you know why. Go Big Red, throw the bones. This show is brought to you by X-Cancer. Join the fight at xcancerstore.com and support your loved ones, your neighbors, and cancer fighters all over the world and help them gain access to revolutionary treatments. xcancerstore.com has a wide variety of t-shirts and merchandise supporting a wide variety of cancer battles so you can show off the colors that matter. Proceeds from each purchase not only help those at home, but also cancer fighters in Tanzania, Africa. Check them out at xcancerstore.com.